so much, Owl, for letting us be here in your new place, your new venue. It's absolutely gorgeous and so bright. And we love what's happening outside there with the Sidewalk Cafe. So thank you very much. My first poem this evening is Old Honk. Walking the railway lines, he hacked and coughed. To our family, his name was Old Honk. He'd fought in the wars, both 1 and 2. He might have had TB. Nobody knew. My grandma was clever and never alarmed. She fed the hobos for work on the farm. Sometimes they'd chop wood, or they'd weed and then rake. A sandwich plus coffee and pie was their take. She said they marked farms where they could find chores. I was certain they'd marked our pump house door. I scoured farm fences and tree trunks for marks, but no X revealed our place as their spot. Old Honk had no bedroll. He'd nothing at all. His clothes seemed ancient, filthy, too small. Grandma, where does Old Honk sleep in the night? Oh, under the trestles or bridges, he might. I'd seen them on irrigation canals where long grasses and reeds grew in great snarls, where spiders hung bug corpses in webbed ropes, while snakes sunned themselves on the sunny slopes. How could he sleep with black widows around, beside rattlesnakes curled tight on the ground, that those old soldiers had no place to stay, haunts me and gives me no peace to this day. Thank you. Now something a little closer. That was from my childhood in California, but I married a Canadian, and so here I am. Early morning carts line up at Greens. Pop bottles bulge from black garbage bags. Stacked atop meager beleaguered belongings, a rusty bike, a torn jacket, a weathered sleeping bag. Where is that refuge to reclaim one's self-esteem? A warm night's sleep behind a safe door. A shower, breakfast, clean clothing, taken for granted by all but the homeless poor. Research speaks loudly. Homes do matter, even if it's one small, lockable room. So why is housing here still such a battle, when it's clear a safe bed is the best solution? The HAT, Housing Society, did things differently, driven by their community responsibility. They responded to everyone accessing a service, ensuring that housing was provided quickly. Each name said aloud erased facelessness. Those serving and served shared empathy. A decade of trust ended chronic homelessness. In June, Medicine Hat was recognized nationally. That small, gaslit city is the poster child today for a successful rehoming strategy, a model for courageous city councils to not turn away from fair housing projects, but instead to reject malicious NIMBY.
And realized most of what I was thinking of doing is fairly dark. But we'll try this one. Just so you, there's one reference in here you should understand. It's to the jungle of Manong, which is basically one of those philosophical terms that some guy came up with, and all it really means is if you can think of it, it has to exist somewhere. I'm not really convinced, but it does show up in the poem. And now I'm going, oh good, this is better, I got light. The mattress is moldy, the bed springs are rusty, there are mushrooms in profusion growing under the bed. If I try to deny it, I'm camped in a bog. There are myriad insects and the albino constrictors. But the plague of my life are the frogs. There are frogs on the duvet and frogs on the pillows, little frogs in my slippers and giant frogs in the bath. Frogs in the toilet and frogs in the sink. There are brown frogs and blue frogs and green frogs and red frogs. Last night I saw 2 frogs that were pink. I've kept up all night by the incessant noises. They don't just go ribbit. That's a Hollywood myth. Frogs mewing like cats, frogs barking like dogs, frogs eating bugs, and frogs eating each other. This is not CGI, these are analog frogs. I wish I could say there was something I'd imagined, some wild fevered illusion, some opium dream. There's philosophical theory that says that's all wrong. If you can think of it, it exists out there somewhere. The excursion of a lifetime through the jungle of Manong. Oh, what the hell was that? This will probably grow up with something. Anybody eating here? Okay, too bad. Fly puke, fly poop, flies on the cheeses and flies in the soup. Flies on the burgers and flies on the fries. Everything comes with a big side of flies. Flies with diseases, flies sucking blood. Flies on the pieces of fruit for dessert. There's flies in the pies. Wherever you look, they're cooking with flies. Flies on the menu, flies on the table. Flies to suit you, enough flies for us all. I'll post it on your blog. You'll love the flies at the Café de la Frog. Okay. Yeah, and this one is just, I'm ashamed of. Okay. The cat went out for a stroll last night, looking for trouble if trouble should happen to meet her. Ran across a pack of dogs, spoiling for a fight. The dog said, "Boys, here's a cat, eat her." The lead dog, the boss of them all, growled, "I need exercise, something chronic. I'm going to cough up this fur ball." Cat said, "Don't mess with me. I'm no catatonic." The big dog said, "Let there be no question, that cat's butt belongs to me." Those who disagreed were too few to mention. It was a true cat's ass trophy. I wrote it, so I guess I'm responsible for it. The big dog said, "I've hated cats ever since I was a pup. Out here in this tomato patch, it's time to play catch up." You're beginning to catch on, I see. The cat just yawned and licked her paws. "I don't fear any dog. I've been up all night sharpening my claws on my mail-order catalog. I've heard your bark is worse than your bite. Fido, let me give you a little tip. You're acting tough, but that dog won't fight. Come on, try a little catnip. Teeth like razors, claws like knives. The temptation's too much to resist. So much to do in 9 short lives. You're on my little cattle list. They circled round and they growled for a bit. They snarled and made faces, then they got stuck in. By the time it was over, you couldn't tell which bit was which. It was a definitive cataclysm. Okay, thank you.
So I'm going to read a couple that I've read before, but quite a while ago, so hopefully it's new for some of you. This one is called Life in the Circus, and this is dedicated to anyone named Dan. Life in the Circus. It was sometime in the summer of 2002. A farm girl named Molly had nothing to do. So she went to the fair and just by chance met Ringmaster Dan wearing shiny tight pants. He tipped his top hat and poured on the charm. A beauty like you shouldn't be stuck on the farm. We're looking for help. Why don't you join? We're off to Dubuque and then on to Des Moines. She went home to pack. What could she lose? And Dan, the ringmaster, in his top hat and shoes. She took a few clothes and her favorite teddy, and in a little gold box placed her pet mouse named Freddie. And off she went, joined the traveling show. Oh, the places, the things she would see, the places she'd go. After 2 weeks of travel, no point in waiting, Molly and Ringmaster Dan began dating. He was hard to resist in those shiny tight pants. The attention, flirtations, a typical romance. As the relationship grew deeper and deeper, Molly landed the job as the elephant keeper. How lucky I am. My life just feels charmed. If not for Ringmaster Dan, I'd be stuck on the farm. About 6 weeks later, before the afternoon show, Molly went to the break tent where the employees would go, sat down beside 2 of her new best friends who took needle and thread. They had costumes to mend. And then, without warning, it was the strangest thing. At the exact same time, their cell phones all pinged. Each of the 3 had messages waiting, most likely from the men each had been dating. Each started to read their message out loud, eyes on their cell phones, heads still bowed. I love you, my darling, the text said to each. You're my one and only, my sweet Georgia peach. Each laid down their cell phones and exchanged puzzled glances. The messages were identical. What are the chances? They'd each been texted by Dan, the ringmaster, that 3-timing, sweet-talking, pitiful bastard. So Molly and Mercedes, the tattooed lady, and Olga, the contortionist, sat back, took a breath, and raised their clenched fist. We'll make him regret he was ever born. Hell hath no fury, like a woman scorned. He'll rue the day we've been played and betrayed. His deception and guile must be repaid. So they met the next day and hatched a plan to exact their revenge on Ringmaster Dan. They borrowed a cell phone from a beauty named Lise. She worked on the high wire and flying trapeze. His sorry fate set with the text that was sent. Meet me at 9 in the elephant's tent. Ooh, a text from a new girl got Dan all excited, and especially Lise. He was just so delighted. He mused, with 3 other girls, I haven't much time. I'll ply her with chocolate and expensive red wine. It must be my charm and my shiny tight pants. I'm the stud of the circus, a pro at romance. So Ringmaster Dan trekked through the amusement park with wine and a flashlight. It was already dark. Pulled back the canvas of the elephant tent, looked both ways behind him, and inside he went. Inside the tent, he found a scented love note by the hand of a woman, and here's what she wrote. I have plans for tonight, a special seduction, so read every word carefully and follow instructions. Put on the handcuffs, the ones by the door. Turn off your flashlight and lay on the floor. Relax and breathe easy. I have a surprise. I won't be but a moment. Oh yes, close your eyes. He lay there in handcuffs, awaiting delight, a smile on his lips, both eyes closed tight. Stepping out of the shadows, the women appeared. Revenge will be swift, the three of them cheered. Molly yelled out, Dan, I hope you're ready, and from the small gold box released her tiny mouse, Freddie. The tiny mouse darted both hither and fro. The poor frightened elephants didn't know which way to go. They ran to the left, they ran to the right. They ran round in circles, then into the night. And on the floor lay Ringmaster Dan, stomped thin and flattened like an empty beer can. When the women were sure that Dan was quite dead, they picked up his body and scraped up his head. They shoved his remains into the human cannon and a send-off Dan had never planned on. Aimed the barrel far, far away. Where he landed, no one can say. Life is a circus, that much is true. How things turn out is mainly on you. If you juggle with chainsaws, you may lose an arm, but if you juggle with hearts, you may lose the farm.
Last week when Blaze was here, he was talking about poetry for change. So I wrote one, especially because the idea for it just kept hitting me in the face. Just as a background, as most of you know, I had a burn accident 2 months ago, and I was in the burn unit of the Foothills Hospital for a month. So I'm doing fine, I'm healing, everything's good, but that's where this starts here. So change, so good in theory, so hard in practice. For a month, I danced to the hospital's rhythms. Up at 7, no way to sleep in with bustling and banging of breakfast trays and shift changes. Instead of terminal annoyance, though, I thought, okay, I'll get in the habit of getting up earlier. It's something I've always wanted to do. You know, my enthusiasm disgusts even me at times. So, new habit established over 28 days was reinforced back at home when the nurses called each day at 9. Surely being up and at 'em by 9 would be no problem after a month of up and at 'em by 7, right? But the 9 a.m. calls I took in bed, alarm clock they remained, until the calls no longer came, and I struggled to be up before 10. Sigh. Change, so good in theory, so hard in practice. You know, our world has heated up. Fires, earthquakes, floods. Climate change demands that we change. Me, you, all of us. But if I can't shift when I get up in the morning, even with 2 months of external pushing, if I can't make a change I dearly desired, how will I, you, all of us make the changes that Earth's survival demands, changes we certainly won't dearly desire. Yet our children, our grandchildren, and great-grands and their great-grands deserve their chance at life. You know, maybe I can't change for my own convenience, but can I change so that they can live? Can you? I'll try a little harder. How about you? I found a little 4x6 card floating around in all of my papers at home, and it had a poem that I had forgotten that I had written. And it was labeled April 2016. So this is an older one, but first time I've read it. Know what you know. Know who you are. Know that what is in your heart is growing, showing, always moving outward. Let go of what has never been your responsibility. of what has never been your fault. Let go of that fear that you are not allowed to thrive or even survive. Remember that you are as a sunflower, a beauty among beauties, exquisite, unique, nourishing and useful, spreading seeds you will never know where they will grow. They offer sustaining nourishment, help, beauty. Remember the blank page, the empty canvas, and all the possibilities. Hold your compass of 8 directions, your heritage of mystery within wholeness, within the circle of all. In the center, know the rose of mystery unfolding, and the seeds of nourishment, possibility, and abundance. Know that you are so loved. Know that you have never been alone. There's more than enough, more than you can imagine, always. And I have one called Magpie for the magpies here in Lethbridge. When I first moved to this area of the world, I saw for the first time big black and white birds. Noisy, too, kind of like ravens. My new neighbor's opinions seemed to match the new birds, too, black and white, and noisy. But one day, the sun shone on those birds' feathers and suddenly flamed out iridescent blue, iridescent purple, beautiful, surprising, intriguing. Now, looking at my southern Albertan neighbors, I can often see when I squint my eyes just right, not only their black and white, but the stunning colors just beneath the obvious stereotypes. Thank you, dear magpie, for reminding me to look more closely, to look more deeply, to listen more carefully, and to find all the beauty surrounding me. Thank you.
So I've written 2 poems. One I wrote quite a while ago, and the other one I wrote this week. And I didn't realize until after I wrote it how similar they both were. Anyway, first one is called It's Just Not Fair. How come things outlive and outlast people, and sometimes wear so well? It's like they almost stay how they were the day they were put together. Other times you see the wear and tear of many hours and hours of use. Someone's life is written all over them. 2 ceramic heads hang on my wall, a man and a woman, both probably African. You can tell from the jewelry they were wearing. Why are they there upon my wall, gathering dust? Well, a few years before my grandmother died, she was in Scotland preparing to move from her home to long-term care. I was visiting from Canada with my 2 children. One day before I left, she said, "Look around and take something as a souvenir of me." I didn't really want to, as that meant that someday I would lose her. But I knew the thing I took would one day be one of the only things I would have left of her. I spied the ceramic heads on her wall. They had been there wherever she had lived with my grandfather since I remember. She said yes, of course, and told me how one day my grandfather had spotted them along his travels and had brought them home for her. They became a symbol of his love for her and their love for one another. Then this old washing board my mum recently gave me. It hangs on my wall next to my very convenient stackable machine to remind me how easy I have it in my life compared to the years of sweat and toil my grandparents and great-grandparents spent caring for their families. It comes from Wales, or so I thought, because that's where we're from. But as I studied the writing on it, it says the Jasper Mountain Manufacturer, and was made in Vancouver. What? Made in Canada? It had been made before I was born in a land I never knew I would live. It was here in this country before the hands of my family ever touched it, and it became part of their daily lives for so many years, passed down from mother to daughter. Guess what? Now it's back in Canada, where it came from, hanging on my wall. It's done its work and it's earned its retirement. Its purpose now is to remind me of my family, how they didn't have it so easy, and of their love they showed through service and caring for each other. I have many things I could share with you, but for now I will just share this. On my wall hangs a fashion strip of black leather with 5 shiny horse medals in a vertical line. I've always known them since I was a child, hanging in my family home upon an amazing stone fireplace my dad built by hand. From top to bottom, there is the lion. I think I've seen that symbol on the English flag. A harp, a symbol of the music played in Wales, a ship, the 3 Welsh feathers, and a head of a stag. What gets me about this wall hanging is how the leather looks, feels, and even smells almost brand new. It stays new while years of my life have passed by. How fair is that? But I've had a good life and it's not over. Thankful for all my experiences and lessons of life and learning. Yet these medals now remind me of my childhood, my dad, his hard work, creativity, and the pride my parents took in my childhood home. It seems not fair how these objects live on, though people who mean so much get old and die. But they have a job and they do their job well, to remind us of special places, special people, and the love they shared with one another. And so it will continue until the end of time. What we have now may be passed down and remind our children of the love we shared. Because when it comes down to it, it's not about objects, it's not about what's fair, it's all about love. And the second one is shorter, but it's a similar theme. And it's called the Empty Chair. And it's about a chair my dad used to sit in when they went on their tours, camping in their van. So the chair is broken and gone, but I saved some of the material from it. So there's a remnant of my dad's chair. Okay. Today we took your old deck chair on our trip to the hills. We stopped to see this amazing view and ponder mountain thrills. As I gazed at the beauty all around, so majestic, green, and vast, my eye then saw your old deck chair and reminded me of times now past. You used to travel in your van with Mum by your side. Always a new adventure along the road so long and wide. You took your chairs, your cup of tea, and made yourself at home, enjoying all the views you found wherever you would roam. So today, as I look upon your empty chair, parked by amazing sight, and in my heart I knew this would be a place you would delight. I know you are in heaven now, with views I've yet to see. But today your empty chair gave me one more time for you and me. Thank you. That was in memory of my dad, Peter Jones.
Well, since I saw you the last time we met before, I talked about a crow. Well, that really wasn't much to show. But I came not to speak that night, but to listen to you all, with how you shared your poems and how much you really care. So tonight, if I don't mess up, I thought with you I'd share a little about where I came from. You might not think it's very good. You might think it's too deep. Or perhaps you might even fall asleep. So Wales. You must have heard of it. It's not really big, but if you haven't been, I really think you should. It has mountains, it has valleys, oceans rock the shore, the grass is always green, and the flowers bloom galore. But it's the people you have to meet. They say we're always happy. And yes, most of the time, I think we are. But yes, we do talk funny. It's natural, you see. It just comes free with every time we make a pot of tea. We sing a lot and all the time, together or alone. I know you've all heard of the great Tom Jones. He lived down the street from us and sang in labor clubs. We laughed, we danced, but poetry, what can I say? A poem a day keeps the doctor away. Wales yet is very famous for its poetry, but our Welsh cakes and our bara breath comes close, so don't give that a miss. We have a language of our own, and it's very musical, they say. But you have to listen hard, it seems. It depends on the time of day. So now, what's next for you, my friends? You go to the pubs, and there are lots, to sing about, to laugh and play. For sure, you'll find out. We are all there, and there to share. No matter what the weather, you will find us all together. Some are singing, laughing, sharing the things that get a spark. Some are in the corner having a cwtch. If you don't know what cwtch means, well, it's a cuddle. And nobody cares. And nobody stops you. And nobody shares. So to all of you who you might meet, whether are the Joneses like me, the Davis and the Evans, and all the men called Di, or our dad, and our mothers and mum. And we all go as Taffs or just mum. Yes, we do have some rain, but it's not really a pain, because everything in beautiful Wales just grows smashing. The girls are good looking, the boys are as well, so who you are with, well, we won't tell. So if you're thinking of traveling, well, you won't go wrong, because we meet you in the airport with a song. And when going to leave your last night in the pub, we will sing We'll Keep Her Welcome in glorious Wales. Nos da means good night. Remember that. God bless you with my tale. And yes, we do have a red dragon in our tanks in beautiful Wales. So all of you say, Oggy, Oggy, Oggy. Yay!
I've written quite a few new ones, so I'll start with this one. The mother speaks through our wombs, blowing the horn of inner indignation. Can you hear the sound of her rage, the torture and injustice she has endured that left her blowing fire across every country road? She's ready to come home to herself. She will violently burn away all false doctrines and ignorance. She will not tolerate any force that tries to dim her purity. Her essence is sweet like honey, dripping into the mouth of a newborn child. She will ravage through every block on her path. You will meet her in the afterglow. You will meet her gentle side. When the dust settles, you will realize how far she had to walk to meet you. She did it just for you. There is no greater love than this. As the wind blows through the prairie grass at dusk, let us listen quietly to our mother's song. Her memories are deep and dark. The rain will soon fall to wash them all away. Let us bathe in her sorrows, and when we hear the geese cry out, may we remember that within the fall is the rise. Let us be wise, that for trial by fire is true love in disguise, only in a different form, with the power to transform us into our true being. Thank you. This is a longer one, so it goes like this. I don't have boundaries, so you abuse me. I don't know my worth, so you tell me you would divorce me if I got disabled. I don't know my worth, so you tell me you'll divorce me if I don't give you a child. I don't know my power, so you abuse yours by putting your foot down. I don't know my rights, so you try to control me by demanding that I close all my accounts. I freely give away my freedom, and you take advantage of me. I take it all personally. I tried to speak up and defend myself, but when unheard, went silent. It's better to be silent than divorced. What will people say when they see? I shouldn't talk about any of this to anyone, he said. I listened. He's right. I don't want to bring shame to my family. My mother says I'm nothing without a man. Am I cursed? Whatever I do, I'm not enough. I'm a horrible wife. He's never satisfied. Buried 10 feet below ground, but then he brings me flowers. Is this a sign? I think we're going to be all right. And I still stay because I'm addicted to loving too much. I still stay because I'm afraid to sleep alone. Is this really love? I come from a culture that normalizes being destroyed in love, sacrifices love. I still stay because I was taught to love others before me. I still stay because I was taught to be submissive to you. I stay and stay because I rather not face the truth. Because damn it, it's scary, because that's all that was passed on to me. My mother was taught the same, so I can't start blaming. She was a victim and is still surviving, and I turned out to be one too. Abusive cycles being passed on for generations. Was I supposed to know any better? Nobody taught me to stand up for myself and love me. Makes me question, where did you learn to abuse? Was it also passed on from a lineage of abuse? Can I blame it all on you when you are tied up in it too? Oh God, what kind of world did I birth into? Where rape is kept silent, where bruises are covered up with makeup, where we are told that this is all love, where we are suffering from symptoms of deep wounds that are bleeding rivers and are taught to keep silent, where men are being told not to feel and they're becoming abusers or killing themselves. Why? I don't belong, I don't belong, I don't want to live, I don't belong. Woman, do you ever have this go through your head too? Maybe this goes beyond gender. I'm a woman, so that's all I can speak to. I keep hearing from everyone I meet these days, everyone assaulted and raped in some degree or another. What am I hearing? I want to hear more. What is the truth of us saying Me Too isn't enough no more? When we are all suffering from mental illness due to a long history of trauma and passing it on, be the change, be the change, be the change, because you matter too. Be the change because you need you. Be the change because your children need you, and their children and their children. Be the change because your mother and grandmothers are counting on you. I don't have control on what you do, but I can't stand and just keep taking the punches. I don't want to get to the point where I want to punch back too. Wouldn't that make me an abuser too? I can't change you, but I can change me. I'm the woman, you will be the change, and the world will see. I know better not to make the same mistakes when I can see the pattern so clearly. Woman, do you see? When we don't have boundaries, we can be invaded. When we don't know our worth, we can be degraded. When we don't know our power, we can be crushed. And when we don't know our rights, we can be violated. Reputation, reputation. reputation. Now I own my shame as a trophy. I'd rather be a shameless mother who saved herself and her children from tragedy, including the man that didn't take accountability. To myself, I'm a warrior woman. I validate myself, and the world will learn to finally see, because nothing is as it seems. Woman, reclaim your power, know your worth, learn your boundaries, know your rights. Your education is your responsibility. Your mind, body, and spirit is sacred. He may not take accountability, but dear Goddess, you don't need him to join you to your destiny. Raise your voice, create your own destiny. It's time, woman, you are ready. Thanks.
May 28th, 2021. I saw this boy at the bank, just standing there outside. Soon after I looked at him when I entered the bank, he put his hood up. I seen senior man looking at me while I was walking my bike to the bus stop. He was wearing black pants and a blue sweater. I walked past and then looked back. I saw a gentleman in his brown van lug a vacuum and a mop to his station home in Hardy Manor. Young black girl with a yellow purse and a red skirt. 79, man deep, McDonald's tattoos and his black glasses. Her dark eyes looked back at him, displaced. Her determination on the grass, the school in session, her black yoga outfit, her dyed red hair tied back. 3 Canadian flags, his honor. Maybe Timberland shoes I can remember. My teenage years suddenly apply now. Attend 2021. The advertisement pretends to be. I just sneezed as I looked past the city worker, weed whacking, her hair pink in 163, I think. His bright red hat, St. Michael's Hospital, the largest Pepsi truck in the neighborhood, 13th Street, 6th Ave. 4 homeless persons in front of Top's Pizza. The young black man walks out with the pizza delivery. That's that first poem, so. I have no idea. This is just experimenting, right? Okay, this one's called I Didn't Know It. Sitting here upon time, just waiting, people arrive when the stick is 9:30. The bicycle just outside. I met a man who worked up in the diamond mines in the Yukon. He just moved here recently. Vancouver Island, he said. I made a joke to him because he was talking about methane down below. He's very delightful and he found joy in his situation. I've been sitting here with my legs crossed. The bones in my butt hurt like mud. It's hot. The radio was talking. I felt for this boy just now. His father and himself walked through the door. The little boy got his fingers stuck in the door. The entire door is metal. His emotional pain was this instant shriek. I felt very bad for him. His father was looking left and the little boy was looking right. His fingers got stuck in the doorway. He immediately shrieked. The boy is about 9 years old. That's that poem.
So I have 3 poems for you this evening. They're new ones. I wrote them yesterday and today, so we'll see. They were kind of quickly written. The first one is called Your Light Is Always On. I turn left onto Birchwood and I glance without even meaning to. I see your car is in the driveway and the living room light is on. I guess that means you never left after all. It's silly, I remind myself, to feel comfort from knowing you're still in town, that I could run into you at the grocery store or when I'm filling the car up with gas. Do you still have our Costco card? I've moved on, or am I still moving on if I still wonder what you're doing tonight with the living room light on at this hour? Are you alone, or is there someone new? The thought that I could find the answer to that question at the same damn grocery store makes me a lot less comfortable with the idea of running into you again. I drive through the night staring at the moon, not paying attention to the other cars on the road, thinking it could just be the moonlight messing with my heart. stirring this nostalgia in my soul. Lovers to friends, will we ever make it to that end? I pull into my drive and sit in the car for a few minutes, or maybe it was more, when I suddenly realize, with a start, I left the light on in the living room when I left. The light is on, but no one is home to greet me. Isn't that how it always was, even though your light was always on? And the second one is called Something New. I'm going somewhere new, somewhere I've never been before. Each day is something new because I've never walked it exactly this way before. I am often looking for that one big adventure that is going to completely change my life. I forget that each day is an adventure. I don't get to live it twice. What is something new I can try today? What is something new I can learn? Something new I can notice even if I've walked this way 100 times before. Waiting for something huge to come along could have you waiting to start your life, and when you're hit with a pandemic, you realize a life-changing revelation isn't actually what you needed to be brave enough to start something new. We have a chance each moment of every day to choose something new. It's never too late to try. It's never too soon to begin. But if you don't take chance up on the offer when she opens the door, it could be too late. But every morning opens a new door, and every moment there's a new door opened. Today is the perfect day. Let's go do something new. This last one is a little bit sad. I'll try to get through it. It's been a year that my cousin passed away, and it just brought back a lot of memories. And then it made me think of a lot of people in my life that are no longer with us. So this one is called I Miss You. I wish that heaven had visiting hours. The line from Ed Sheeran's new song cuts deep into my heart. The tears started to flow as the melody overwhelmed me, and it doesn't seem real that you're gone. I'm imagining a place I could visit for a day and catch you up, and catch you all up on everything that's gone on while you were away. It's more than I can bear. To envelop you in a giant hug and hear your voice again, even if I had to leave at the end of the day or only see you once a year, what a treat that would be. I miss you all so very much, and yet I'd rather not spend much time thinking about you because my heart might still break into too many pieces to ever be repaired. I wish that heaven had visiting hours, and I wish I had spent more time visiting you.
My poems are short and sweet, so I've got 3 of them tonight. The first one is called A Dead Leaf. A dead leaf floats on the fire-warmed breeze, below early autumn trees. Caught between the seasons, I dream, not of the cold to come or the summer gone, but of the air I breathe, and how clean it used to be, and of the blue sky that's now a smokescreen. The sun is a red disk sinking into the haze. Is it Monday or the end of days? Yeah. Too much smoke this summer, right? Okay, the next one is called A Friend. A friend died today. A new molt, hollow. Another not long ago. Soon more will follow. So many have gone. So far, everyone that came. Autumn plays jazz now. Come winter, no color will remain. Leaves swirl in the wind. I shiver. Like childhood friends, they scatter. Was his truth found before he drifted down? Did truth in the end matter? Did he disappear? Has he gone home? A wish to be remembered cannot eclipse fragmenting bone. The hourglass flips just once. Friends like grains of sand at the bottom compile. A friend died today, and I am sad, but his memory makes me smile. There we go. And now the next poem is called A Glass of Wine, so I had to bring the prophet. All right. A glass of wine for the end of time. To life I drink, to yours and mine. To virtue, to strength, to redemption and grace. To the future, to music, to sunny days. A glass of wine to the blood of Christ that stained the cross. A glass of wine to the tragedy of life, for all we have loved and all we have lost. A glass of wine raised to the sky, to glory and to love. A glass of wine before I die, then one more in the great beyond.
Hello. So I have a couple meditations for you. So bring it down and make a little zen. Be zen out today. Maybe close your eyes and listen to my melodic voice. The first one's called An Island Meditation for the Landlocked Mind. Time leaves with the tide, or hides in shallow pools, in forgotten shells, in driftwood fading on hot stones. Waves licking land, rushing in, rolling out, making smooth each jagged space, and dulls all sense of hurry. Fishing boats, painted red, once bright, now outbrighted by the sun, are washed clean by bliss and blaze. Sky over sea, under sky, sweeping wide, all-consuming, moving blue into blue over blue as one eternal round.
I have two poems for you tonight, and one of them is an old one, and you might have heard it before. And if I repeat myself, I'm sorry, but I don't have anything new right now. What is poetry to me? This was prompted on a website or by an email by a lady called Mary Reynolds Thompson. She asked readers about what poetry meant to them. So here it is. Poetry to me is the sacred language of the heart and soul. It is the raw, uncensored, deep thoughts, experiences, senses that come from my inner core. It is the magical part of the mundane. It is the description of the things not everyone sees and talks about. It is the connection to God, the universe, the moon, and stars, and everything in between. It is the flowers of the spoken world, collected into a colorful bouquet. It is the flow of consciousness, sometimes emerging from the unconscious, revealing the unknown. It is the life force pouring out and transforming into words that are an invitation to connect us in a meaningful, sacred, and supportive way.
So this one is called the Muse Hunt. Waiting for the emotion to surface. My muse lies somewhere asleep. I reach my hand out in yearning. Sky, please talk to me. Quarreling with every pixel on the white screen. My demons, please don't joke with me. The fire in my soul is so damaging, yet no smoke signals to shape the words. This solitude is precious, yet debilitating. I want to scream out the name of my muse. I do not remember their name. My voice has no sound. I am angry because I am impotent. I am desperate because I am barren. I am self-sufficient, yet I am not self-inseminating. My insides bleed for the seed to germinate a word. One word, two words. Which words? I beg Eros to come to me. I dare satire to talk to me. I invite Zimmergy to walk with me. None of them care to stay with me. By now, I am rolling on the floor in pain. This kidney stone won't pass. This gas bubble is trapped in my colon. This fetus won't leave the womb. Does this require induction? Will laxatives give relief? This word has got to come out before my womb ruptures in two and I bleed out. Is it my blood you want? Muse, what is your name? What kind of muse are you? Have you no training? You're supposed to be more seductive, less elusive, more supportive, less reclusive, enabling, caring, teasing, daring. All you left me is a wet blanket to cover me. Such a cock block you are. I toss and turn all night, feverish. Are you really here, or is it just a shadow? My demons don't play tricks with me. The sudden daylight break shocks me. Look, I've laid an egg. Cock, announce it to the world. Cock-a-doodle-doo. Muse, I birthed a poem without you. Thank you.